Welcome, time for some art fun. Today, we've got an unboxing and a review, so stick around. I was contacted and they offered to send me some things to review. So I said, duh, of course, yes, I want to review art supplies from a people, especially because I haven't been buying art supplies lately. And I know you're probably in withdrawal because you're used to seeing a ton of hauls. So let's see what I got. So this is the Hippie Crafter, and that's their logo right there. And this is their heat gun. I don't know about you, but I see these heat guns all the time because I do art supply videos, and I don't have one. And I don't bring any sort of a dryer or anything in my studio. I want something that can just live in here. And this looked really good. So I really like the packaging. And by the way, I'm not sponsored. I have not been paid for this. I have not been told anything to say. I literally the email correspondence was like, do you want to try anything? If you do, we'll send it to you. If you'll do a review about it, positive or negative, just whatever you think, do a review. And here's my review. So they're mentally prepared that if I don't like anything, you're going to know about it. This is what the heat gun looks like. Very handy, fits really nicely in my hand. It has this little stand to keep the hot nozzle off of your desk. That's really nice. It does say Hippie Crafter. It feels good. Pretty straightforward, you know, low, high, off. So we'll try this because the other thing that I got were these real brush pens. I'm so excited about this. So you know that I reviewed real brush pens here before. That's what they look like. Ooh, watercolor brush pens. 50 colors, includes 2 additional water pens. Rich colors, flexible brush tips, water-based, non-toxic. It's a pretty case. I mean, this is very highly giftable. Drawing, calligraphy, that's true. I do like using these for calligraphy if I'm practicing that. Less mess. These are actually really fun to do coloring books with if you don't want to bring or use your fancy watercolor paints. Something like this. I've had the Arteza and the Ohuhu brand. I have not tried this brand and I'm really excited to try it. It just talks about some of its other range. So let's get rid of this box and we'll get into looking at these pens. Let's get this little bit of tape off. And then we can take this up and this open. Ooh, ooh, look at that color range. Okay, so you probably know if you've watched my other real brush pen videos that I'm going to be wondering if there are color names. Let's see. Nope, no color names. So the only thing I'll say so far is I'm looking for color names. I don't see any. I do see that the bottoms have color, and I have to say this looks very, very similar to my Ohuhu real brush pens. They feel really good, and they say Hippie Crafter on them. But here, hold on, let me grab one of my Ohuhus to show you. Okay, this is the Arteza real brush pen, and they do have color names. I had a 12-pack. These are the most expensive, and I don't notice any difference when I use the actual brush pen. So you're really just paying for a little bit longer of a pen and a color name. So that's up to you if that's what you want to do. But I have 12 of those that I keep in this little pouch. And then I have a whole slew of the Ohuhus that I keep in here. See? And these also didn't have color names, so I put little stickers on the bottom. These work beautifully and have a nice big color range, so I really liked those. But look at this. So here's the Hippie Crafter. And here's the Ohuhu. Even the caps look really similar. Those look like the same to me. The Hippie Crafter feels a little bit nicer. They're the same. So far as how they look. They're the same length. They have the same cap. These are both the blacks. They have the, you know, they'll have the color on the back. And so that's really interesting. And they have, this one has 2 different water brushes, so that'll be interesting too to see. But look at that. I mean, that's pretty crazy. So these were super affordable. If I 50 colors and 2 water brushes, that's cheaper. So if they do work exactly the same, I would still go with the Hippie Crafter if you can. They're both on Amazon. And I think that this packaging is really cute. It's definitely cuter than the Ohuhu packaging, I'll tell you that from memory. So if you were going to do it as a gift, I would definitely do the Hippie Crafter over the Ohuhus. But let's see how they work, because you know what time it is. It's swatch time. I'm so excited. So these watercolor markers, or real brush pens, as a lot of other companies call them, are completely water soluble. So the color melts with water in a similar way that a Tombow marker might. It's actually even more simple to get these to move in water than it would be with a water-based marker. It's a watercolor marker, and you can really see that with these close-up shots, how the wet marker looks like it is watercolor moving in water. It's really beautiful. These were two of my absolute favorite colors. Green, shock of all shocks. They're just beautiful. One of them actually looked a little bit like Daniel Smith Cascade Green to me. A lot of really vibrant colors. They came in the box in a completely random order. So the first thing I did was try to put them in color order based on the colors on the bottom of the marker, and on the front of the cap, you'll see when I'm making these that the top of the cap has the same color as the back of the pen. But when I did these swatches, there were still some that seemed a little bit out of order. So when I did my final swatch card that I'm going to keep in the marker box, I put them even more in a refined order. This black was a little dry, as you can see here. This was the first marker I got to where it wasn't super juicy. And what I did was I actually dipped the pen in water later, and it completely woke up. So I wish I'd thought of that when I was making these swatches, but I do eventually fix that black swatch. And you'll see when I'm making my test painting that it's so much darker and it's a deep, deep black. That's all I did. I dipped the tip in a little water jar and immediately, like, barely touched it to the water, and immediately it sucked all of the ink out from the body and into the tip. So if you do get any sort of a dry pen, not just with this brand, but with any of the brands, as I said earlier, I have Arteza and Ohuhu, and that happened with both of those too. You just dip the tip in a little bit of water. Water draws the color out from the pen. So if I were like here, you just saw I put the pen back into the wet section to try to make it a little darker. It worked that well because the water will just suck up into the pen. So unless the pen is dry, that's not a great option. There are a lot of different techniques that I'll use when I go to the actual test painting from these swatches, but I will say this, seeing them in both solid mass tone like this and seeing them watered down and seeing what effect water hitting them has made it so much easier to make my painting, because I could actually predict what was going to happen when I use these in an actual painting. So I highly recommend, if you get an art supply like this from whatever brand. I was really happy with this brand. I was really happy with how vibrant these colors were. I mean, look at this. But whatever brand you get them from, definitely do your own swatch card and your own swatches, because they look so different when water touches them depending on the brand. I was really, really happy with these. I loved how vibrant they were. I don't know if they're light fast. I don't have any reason to believe they are, but man, are they going to be fun for sketching. For this piece, I decided to do a little clownfish just swimming through some different, I guess you would call it ocean flora, ocean decor. I loved being able to water these out. I do like to apply the water when the pens are still wet on the page. So I like to move quickly between the marker and the water, and that gets these beautiful watercolor effects. If the marker completely dries, it will still move around when you apply water, but not to the same extent as if you get in there while the marker is still wet. These were $27 for a set of 50 plus 2 water brush pens. The Ohuhu set that I have that is most similar, that I showed you in the beginning, like literally they look almost exactly the same, is $26 for a 48 set. So 2 fewer colors for $1 less. Neither have color names, which I think is a con for both of them. I wish they did have color names, especially because there are so many colors. With 50 colors, even with 2 different trays, it will be hard to pick the right one without counting. And this is the heat gun I also got from the same company, Hippie Crafter. It was really good. It worked beautifully. The first couple of times I used it out of the box, it had a little bit of a plasticky smell as I was using it. And then after the third time I used it, the smell was gone. So I think that's just part of it being used for the first time, fresh out of the box. So expect that if you do get that gun. It worked beautifully, and it really let me speed up this process. I used that
heat gun throughout this process, and it was so helpful. I don't have anything, any negative feedback on that. I loved the little stand that kept the nozzle, the hot nozzle, off of my desk so it didn't melt anything. It was really easy to use, super intuitive, didn't need to read directions. It was great. I really loved this stage. I almost wish I didn't fill in the background because I loved the blue and the orange so much. But I do love the greens in this set and wanted to see them perform. So I filled in this different ocean fauna with various colors of greens. And I do like that too. I think it was just the final stage I didn't like as much as this stage. I went a little too far, a little too crazy with the colors because they are so vibrant. I mean, look at those swatches on the left. These are beautiful colors. There's a big range. It's a really delicious to use. I love the way that the piece came out. Even if I did go a little overboard. Again, I loved this phase right here. I wish I had just stopped with just these greens and left the white reserved seaweed just completely white instead of trying to fill it in at all. But I loved these pens. That's really the only downside, was that two of them, the red and the black, were a little dry. Dipped them in water, they woke right back up. As you'll see when we pass the black swatch again, just came up beautifully. They're really easy to use. They're really fun to use. These would be great to take on location, like maybe a limited color palette. Just pick the colors that you're gonna take, put them in a little bag, and you're good to go. I mean, you're painting. So I thought this was really fun. If you do decide to get this, I've left links below. I don't get any sort of a kickback from Hippie Crafter. I do have Amazon affiliate links. But this is just my opinion. I thought that they were really great. I think this would make a great gift. I mean, at Christmas time, under 30 bucks, to get this many art supplies out to a loved one would be amazing. If you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like below and check if you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, I would so appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel. Until next time, remember, create something cute.